Morning, everyone. I like memes, and I always say this, but they tell a story, right? And a picture is worth how many words? Lots and lots, right? So this is a meme of Jagmeet Singh wearing a pink turban, and it says at the top "Socialist," and it's got the hammer and the sickle kind of in the background, and it says a person who wants everything you have except your job. You keep that. You keep that. We've got to tax somebody. Right? You keep your job. You need to have some value. I'm just going to hang out over here. Right? Right. So, Global News is reporting, crowd at Conservative rally in Ontario chanted, "Lock him up," when Scheer mentioned Trudeau. And this is kind of an awkward clip. It's very funny. In my opinion, it's kind of funny. And, okay, when you're talking off the top of your head, you sound like me right now. I'm just kind of making it up as I go along. I have an idea of what I want to say and where I want to go with it, but I don't have anything scripted out. I don't type what I'm going to say. Black Pigeon Speaks, I think he does an essay, and he reads his essay over his prepared video, and I think that that's great because he's got a very, very tight story that he wants to tell, and I tell kind of a more meandering story. But that's okay. That's okay. We're all different, right? But Mr. Scheer here is reading a memorized speech. And you know that because the inflection's kind of strange. He's not speaking off the top of his head. He's speaking about things that he's practiced speaking about. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is politics, and this is, well, tomorrow's election day, right? Tomorrow. Wow, right? October 21st is tomorrow. But this is Andrew Scheer, and then the crowd goes with him and then pushes him way past where he's ready to go, and he's trying to tack them back. He's like, whoa, hold on a second. So I just thought this was very funny because, well, he doesn't want to lock up Justin Trudeau. He just wants to get to the bottom of this and then maybe fine him $20,000. This is insane. Watch this.
The ethics commissioner found him guilty of breaking ethics laws not once, but twice. And he still won't let the RCMP investigate the SNC-Lavalin corruption scandal. And that's why when we form government, I will hold a judicial inquiry into his scandal to get to the bottom of what he's done. Now, we're going to get to the bottom of his scandal. We're going to vote him out. Vote him out. Vote him out.
Do you remember watching The Simpsons? I remember watching The Simpsons and watching like the Canadian version of the American thing. And I don't know which era of The Simpsons it was, but I thought it was a very funny joke. And it was like the Canadian Idol versus American Idol, and the Trump rally versus Andrew Scheer rally. Man, this whole thing just kind of made me laugh. Like, oh no, I don't want to lock him up. Just get to the bottom of this and vote him out. Yeah. Oh. The whole thing was funny to me. So link is in the description. I'm not going to read any more of this. This is just a smattering of what's happening in Canadian politics after Kinsilligate, right? Because, I mean, that's happening. That's happening in real time. Here's Jagmeet Singh, moving on to a different leader. He is saying emphatically that his support for Justin Trudeau depends on killing the TMX pipeline, which is essentially dead anyway, with Justin Trudeau just doing nothing and continually saying construction will begin in construction season, but never actually giving a year for the construction season, just saying, yeah, shovels are in the ground when they're not in the ground. Regardless, here's Jagmeet Singh, and I apologize about the volume here. I hope everything is as loud as it can be. Link is in the description. Here we go.
Would you make the cancellation of the Trans Mountain Pipeline a condition of your support for a Liberal minority that you're open to supporting?
Yeah, so this is something that I've been really clear on. I'm fully opposed to the Trans Mountain. I've been opposed to it. I will continue to be opposed to it. Our commitment on one of our priorities was the environment, and that's a crucial part of our commitment to reducing our emissions, to stopping the Trans Mountain Pipeline, to ending fossil fuel subsidies. So this is something we're going to continue to fight for. Absolutely.
Last question. I just want to make sure I understand.
Stop the pipeline. Stop the pipeline.
You are saying that you wouldn't, if the pipeline, if they want to push it through, you would pull your support out of a Liberal minority.
Yeah, we've been fighting the pipeline before. We're going to continue to fight it. We're always going to fight it.
Would you make?
So, I mean, that's very, very clear. And this is Scott Moe, the Premier of Saskatchewan, and he says, I believe it's Saskatchewan. Yeah. He says, yeah. He says, well, this couldn't be more clear. Jagmeet Singh says killing the Trans Mountain Pipeline would be a condition of the NDP supporting a Liberal minority government. A Liberal NDP government would be a disaster for Western Canada. Disaster. I don't disagree. And I think people should understand exactly what the NDP stand for. Here's the Toronto Sun reporting, Hurricane Hazel McCallion blows off Trudeau. Now, Hurricane Hazel is a former mayor of Mississauga, and she was a long-standing mayor of Mississauga for a very long time and very popular. She would win re-election after re-election after re-election. You were destined to lose if you went up against Miss McCallion. She was indeed a hurricane. And she's retired now, but she's still in the politics game, and she's still endorsing candidates, and she endorsed Trudeau enthusiastically in 2015. I remember sharing that video on Facebook, and she's not doing that. She's not endorsing anyone this year, but she's specifically not endorsing Trudeau, and she explains why. Here's the report. Quote, he may have received an endorsement from U.S. President Barack Obama. Nice way to shoehorn it in there, the Sun. But Justin Trudeau won't be getting one from iconic Hazel McCallion, the Sun has learned. They have been trying to get me to support him, but I'm not going to do it this time, the legendary 98-year-old former Mississauga mayor confirmed Saturday. While she backed Trudeau in 2015, she's sitting this one out. Quote, I'm concerned about things he and the Liberals have said about Ontario Premier Doug Ford, she said. And I also feel the same way about stuff said about Alberta Premier Jason Kenney. I don't like the way they targeted the two premiers. I don't think it's right. Her main concern is how they've been portrayed as recklessly cutting services. Quote, it's no way to try to win an election, she said. It hasn't been the cleanest election. It's becoming too much like United States politics. I don't like it. She said Kenney and Ford have adopted her philosophy of finding efficiencies without cutting programs, and she's not going to throw them under the bus when it's how she steered her ship from 1978 until 2014. Quote, they are trying to tighten their belts, she said. When I was mayor of Mississauga, we did that every year. We didn't run deficits. We looked for efficiencies in every department. And we found 1 million, sometimes 2 million every time. But her not offering a confirmation for Trudeau goes deeper. Quote, I'm concerned about the debt, said McCallion, and endless spending commitments. Quote, I'm worried about how we are going to pay for all the promises being made, and I mean from all the parties, McCallion said. I'll be publicly supporting none of them. She added, I hear from people in Tim Hortons and everywhere I go about affordability for regular families and especially seniors like herself. She said, quote, the only one talking about fiscal responsibility and tax breaks is Conservative leader Andrew Scheer. It's not enough to gain her nod of approval. So she's not endorsing Scheer either. I think it's interesting that she's not talking about Mr. Bernier's platform. I wonder if she's unaware. But regardless, there's a little bit more, but it's irrelevant. So the last little one here is a Trudeau rally where they arrested a mother and daughter in a takedown arrest after trying to say they de-escalated the situation. Weird, right? Weird. So huge crowd, few protesters greet Trudeau in Aurelia. Yeah, so there were these guys and there were the blackface oil people. Oh yeah, here's one of them. I don't know if you can see. There we go. In the middle. Right? And there it says we're Aladdin too, but I'll take us down to the arrests here. This is interesting. Prior to Trudeau's arrival, a mother and daughter duo holding aloft a large Bruce Stanton sign outside Mariposa Market chanted anti-Trudeau slogans lustily as a crowd of Haas supporters held up their own smaller red signs. At one point, a man approached the women, got in their faces, and told them to stop yelling. There was an exchange of insults. Members of the RCMP arrived on the scene and de-escalated the situation. I'm just gonna interject here. When you de-escalate something, it is not enough to just say, okay, stop that, and call it de-escalated. Usually, it means you've unwired the bomb, or you've made the situation safe. You've taken care of the problem, right? De-escalation doesn't usually result in what happened next. And I'll go back to the article now. However, a short while later, one of the RCMP officers told one of the women holding the Stanton sign to stop swearing or he would arrest her. When she yelled in his face, he appeared to move to restrain her. At that point, it appeared she tried to push him away. I'll read that again. It appeared she tried to push him away, and that triggered a takedown arrest of both women who were taken away in handcuffs. Isn't that strange? Isn't that weird? It seems weird, right? A police officer comes up and says, stop protesting, stop swearing, you can't say that, you can't do that, and then arrests them in a takedown arrest, no less. Women. Yeah, Mother and daughter. Welcome to Canada, everyone. Don't you dare say that. Don't you dare, or you'll be arrested. Wow. Right? Is this where we are? Yes. Yes. So, with 1 day left, and leaders all over with this stuff happening, and people chanting, lock him up, and Mr. Scheer not willing to go there, and Mr. Singh willing to shut down pipelines, and Mr. Bernier being targeted by entire secret campaigns, Project Cactus and Daisy Group. And that was a big story just last night that was breaking. I don't want to beat a dead horse, otherwise it would be included, but at this point, I did a whole show on it. So, my goodness, where will this end tomorrow? Who knows? I don't know. Usually, at this point in the election, the polls have started to tighten. You could see somebody pulling ahead. I think that if the polls were reflective of the reality out there, we would be seeing somebody pull ahead, but the polls haven't moved for a year. The polls have been pretty much where they've been for a year, and that seems weird to me too. So, just some of my thoughts. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to vote. Voting day is tomorrow, and have a wonderful, wonderful